Hello guys, and welcome to yet another one of my island tours. For today we're going to be visiting my first island, which is called Serenity. This island is actually based off of Nightmare Before Christmas. However, I didn't restart when I started this island, so the name doesn't really match, but the theme is Nightmare Before Christmas, heavily inspired by Halloween, and then you guys will get to see what the rest of it is. But if we want to get started by looking at my map, my villagers, I have Molly, Blair, Maple, Bo, Lucky, Stitches, Deirdre, Kiki, Meringue, and Bones. So as you guys can see, when you get started, walking right into the entrance, you're greeted by a sort of city, Halloween city. So what this is supposed to represent is the town from the movie. So this is from like that first scene where Jack comes out in like the Pumpkin King, and they're all celebrating that Halloween just ended and preparing for the next year. So this is like the town square, you can call it. They have a fountain in the movie as well, so I wanted to incorporate that. But as you guys come right along, I'll show you what everything looks like. Here there's just a bunch of little pumpkins, and some of the villager homes are decorated, but I will say not all of them are that great, so I'm going to go ahead and skip that one, and I'll make my way over to the left side first because there is a little bit less decorations on this side. I did decorate all of my beaches based off of the holiday in which they're at. You guys will kind of understand that a little bit more, but this section isn't anything specific to the movie. I just kind of wanted to give those Halloween vibes, like Halloween Town vibes. So like it looks more spooky than inspired by the movie. But here's where I have the campsite. And then as you guys can see, there's like a construction in progress. The end of the road, there's nothing left. And then if you kind of go around here, wrap around the beach for a little bit, you can see an extension from the build that is above. The other part of the beach is segmented off for the other holiday, which I can show you guys later. But if we climb up here, this is supposed to be that one scene when he's on the spiral hill and he's looking over at the graveyard. This was the best that I could do in terms of the hill. It's an incline. I know it looks kind of silly, but you have a great view of the cemetery, the graveyard, so I think it works. On this side, as you guys can see, there's just a bunch of little graves, and it's pretty symmetrical. I can try to show you guys like a wider view of this. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of give those spooky vibes. Jack does spend a lot of time here, so I wanted to make sure that it was, there we go. It was a big section of my island. So as you guys can see, that's one side, and then that's the next side. And then as you continue on walking, you make your way back to the front entrance. The first level of my island is basically decorated as Halloween. I'll show you guys. Oh, look at Jack. I'll show you guys what I have on the rest, and this island will make a bit more sense. But here we have resident services. It's really, really close. And as you guys can see, I have little cutouts of Lock, Shock, and Barrel. I know they're not in the correct order, but you know, still looking cute. You can actually come and take photos here, which I love. And then I have a tub here because if you guys are familiar with the movie, oh my gosh, Kiki in the bag looks so cute. But if you guys are familiar with the movie, these three are the ones who kidnapped Mr. Santa Claus and they put him in a tub. So that's what it's referencing. But this is kind of like a larger view of my resident services. I just wanted to make it look kind of like grand, like a big castle part of the town. Oh my god, they're so cute. But I'll continue on. As I had mentioned before, the beaches are all slightly decorated. I do low-key hate when I have shells, so I will be picking those up as I walk, but I'll show you guys what's on the actual island in a minute. But I wanted to show you guys that this beach right here is kind of like my tree beach, because I also have another one where I made it be filled with rocks. So yeah, just showing you all the little details. And this is where Bo lives, I believe. Let me see. Let me double check. I've had this island for a long time, and low-key his house hasn't moved, but I still forget. Bo is actually supposed to represent Jack's mansion. I'm not sure if you guys... I actually will put it on the screen, but I have a custom map that explains every little section, so you guys can take a look at what each build is supposed to be. So this is supposed to be Jack's house. It's like his big mansion. I know in the movie his house is like really, really tall and skinny, but it was kind of hard to replicate that. And then as you move on to the right side of resident services, I don't know why, but I felt like carnivals just like they give me Halloween vibes. So I wanted to add that here, just kind of like as filler space. And then back here we have one of our first characters from the actual movie, which of course he's not home, but I do have Stitches on my island because he's here to represent Sally, because they're both ragdolls. And you guys know that Sally was created by Dr. Finkelstein. So that's why we have kind of like this mad scientist vibes going on. I wanted to make it look like a scientist lived here. If you guys were to see the inside, which I recommend you guys go visit the dream address, you guys can see that the inside of that home is decorated perfectly to kind of resemble a mad scientist lab. And I'm not sure if you guys know, but Dr. Finkelstein is on a wheelchair, so there's also a wheelchair there, which I think was a great touch. And then back here I have my Nooks Cranny. I used a bunch of the storefronts so that it can kind of block off that section. But moving right along, we are at Maple's house. Oh my gosh, literally no one is going to be home, I don't think. But this house here is supposed to reference the witches in the movie. There's a scene where there's a bunch of witches and they're kind of like all trying to help out Jack. And I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to give them their own spot. So I decorated Maple's house. You guys should come visit and see if you're able to go inside. I decorated her house to be a witch's cottage. So cute. And this is where I have the rock beach that I told you guys about. I actually made this with asteroids and rocks. And the whole idea is that since she's the witch, she powers the magic on this island. So as you guys can see with this lovely rock garden that we have here, the rock garden and the shrubs and all of this is here to protect the magic, which is in the pond. That's where the magic is created and that's where it's housed. And that's what keeps this island running. So Maple is our queen witch in charge of all things magic on this island. I know, I just kind of made that story, but it goes well. This is her little candle and her spooky vibes. And then back here, I just wanted to fill it up with a little bit more of the carnival vibes. I won't go too far out into the beaches because technically there's not much on those. They're mainly meant for you to see from the top layer. But if we make our way back to resident services and we go upstairs, I can show you the main attraction of this island, which is the Hinterlands. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's basically the forest in the movie where all of the holiday doors are stored. Oh, look at Jack. He looks so cute. I gotta get a little clip of him. Wait, come back. Jack. Oh my God, I hate him. All right, I'll just get one of myself. All right. Well, this is the continuation of the Halloween area. Let me actually back up a little so that you guys can kind of see this view. But this is the first house that you guys can find when you come up the top layer. If I make my way around, there's kind of a little hidden area, which is also going to give you guys a sneak peek for one of the other builds, which I will come back to. But if you come and you loop your way around, here you can find a hidden Jack and Sally. I didn't know what to really do with this area, so I was like, let's just place their little dresses here so it kind of looks like if they're on the actual island. Although I know I am dressed as Jack, but there's two of us. And then over here, oh, let's try that photo again. Oh my gosh, does he hate me or something? I think he hates me. All right, well, let me show you first the view if we climb up here. So this is kind of where you can get a good view of the trees. Oh, you know what? Let me see if I can try to get a big view. Ooh, there we go. I think this will end up being the screensaver photo. But as you guys can see, this is a continuation of Halloween. So if we come along here, you guys can see all of the different doors which represent the different holidays. In the movie, we see that Jack lives behind the Halloween door and he visits only the Christmas door. So we're only able to see what it's like during Halloween and in Christmas Town. So I decided to base off my island off of the different doors and the different holidays and kind of just showcase what it would be like if Jack would have visited one of the other doors. So if you guys bear with me, we can go into each door and see what it's like. So if we make our way onto our first holiday, we're going to go clockwise. This is Thanksgiving over here. As you guys can see, there are little gifts here. You guys are more than welcome to open up. They are a bunch of little outfits that correspond with each holiday. If you want to put them on and basically be dressed for the occasion, you guys can go ahead and do so. But right here, we just have like a little pumpkin field to go with the Thanksgiving vibes. And then you do have to make your way back to that entrance and go down the incline to see the rest of that space. As you guys can see, there's lots of pumpkins, lots of weeds. We went with like a lot of the yellowy orange tones to kind of showcase just the fall vibes. I do have these homes decorated, so you guys are more than welcome to look inside, but I am going to go ahead and carve this out because we don't need it. But this is where you can find the entrance for the maze. You can actually travel along it and find your way out. But fun fact, spoiler alert, the exit is towards the left side. So once you exit, you guys are greeted with a little Thanksgiving dinner. We have a full layout of different foods and gifts, you know, just like a cutesy little Thanksgiving dinner. So this is kind of what I went with for this part of my island. As I had mentioned before, I wanted to kind of decorate the beaches to represent each holiday. So I just kind of used whatever items I could find that were in that same colors, what is it? Color block. But I do have one more home up here to show you guys. And a little kind of like a forest area right back here. This is the last home. I believe Deirdre lives here. Yeah, this is Deirdre's home. You guys are more than welcome to check it out if you're on the island. But she is over here harvesting crops ready for the fall. And this is technically all for this section. I wanted to keep it pretty simple. This was also actually one of the last builds that I did, so I didn't have as much space to work with. I kind of just made it work. But next we will move on to St. Patrick's Day. All right, making our way up, you guys can see green is the color of choice for this section. As you can see, we have a lot of little gnomes who are actually leprechauns. They take care of the land here in St. Patrick's Day. And again, you guys can see we have little gifts here. The majority is an outfit to match with the vibes, but there's also little tools that you can use to like as props for your photos. If we continue off this little land bridge type moment, you guys can see that we make our way to the entrance of St. Patrick's Day. This is one of the more simple builds, but I don't know what it is about it. I think it's all the greenery. It just looks really nice to me. I think because it's so natural. Something about it just, you know. So the first thing that you guys can see here is a little wishing well where you toss your coin and make a wish and hope for the leprechauns to make your wish come true. And then if we continue to walk around, we are presented by this little roundabout with a giant beanstalk and some more leprechauns. As you can see, this is a smaller section of the island, but nonetheless, I think it's still very cute. I'll show you guys above in a second, but this is the pub where the leprechauns are in charge of creating shamrock shakes for the holiday season. Here you guys can also see one of the first villager homes. There's actually only one in this area. Everything is pretty natural, but I do have this home here, and then along the beaches I kept it pretty natural as well, with just a bunch of flowers and any green items that I could find. Back here is where the little leprechauns do their own laundry, and as you guys can see on the little right side as well, I'll show you in a second, that's kind of where the little leprechaun village can be found. Don't mind me picking up the shells. I kind of hate how they look. But if we make our way up around this way and you see that little ladder, this is where the leprechauns actually live because they're tiny, so they need tiny homes. And then if we look up here, you can see this is where the brewing is actually done for the leprechauns' little winery, whatever you want to call it, their little business. And then if we come over this way as well, you can kind of see that there's also a little potato farm. I thought it was very fitting. But yeah, this is what we have for St. Patrick's Day. It's one of the smaller sections. Again, this was one of like the last few builds that I made, so I kind of just played with the space that I had. But we will make our way back to the center of the town where all of the doors are at, so we can move on over to Easter, which you guys just got a little sneak peek of. So if we make our way onto Easter, again, you'll see at the entrance there are a lot of little gifts. These are again outfits and a few little snacks that you can use as props. But I did focus on making this kind of like a carnival theme. I just felt like all these pastel colors really kind of went with the vibe that I was going for. So I used a lot of the carnival rides, but as you guys can see here in the center, let me open up my screen. This is where the Easter Bunny visits to take his photos. So that's kind of the theme that I went with, like Easter Bunny, Easter photos, carnival, things like that. I'll make my way around to show you guys the entire thing, but essentially it's an Easter carnival, basically. I felt like these colors just beautifully represented everything that I was aiming for. As you guys can see, the flowers, the Easter items, the carnival rides, the little chocolate bunnies, like everything was just so perfect in terms of colors. So that's why I ended up going with a lot of them. Back here, you guys can see there's a little nook for you. That top little cliff is not accessible on the left, but the right one is. And then this is just kind of a nice little view of the next island, which is, you can actually see one back on the right. I never really noticed that. But if we make our way around, here is where you can pick out your prize from the carnival games that you win. Whatever game you win, you can select your prize. And then if we go over to this side, we have a hidden little nook that is essentially a boba shop. I feel like boba was the perfect little addition to add to this little corner, since I love boba and the colors are just perfect. You can actually come up here and sit with the little bears and have your own boba. But this section, although it is one of my favorites, is also not as big. I did focus most of my island to be in the vibes of Halloween and also Christmas. So you guys will see that up next, but Christmas and Halloween are what kind of take up the majority of the island. Oh my goodness, how did it magically just start snowing on my island? As we make our way over to Christmas, I just had to show you guys how beautiful it looks in the nighttime with all of the lights. But this is my first little section. I have a little post office where the letters to Santa get mailed out. I really just wanted to kind of bring to life that little small town vibe that we see in the movie. As you guys can see, there's like a lot of snow, there's a lot of red, and it just looks very cozy. As you guys can see on this side over here, I filled it up with flowers and with the little holly bushes and presents. Everything here is just red and green. I wanted to make sure that I basically was able to represent what the movie showcases. So let me show you really quickly again what this little street looks like. Again, there's presents here that you can use for props, and I just love how this kind of curves into the next area. I'll show you what the walkway looks like, but it's just lined with trees and presents and a little bit of storefronts to kind of block off the area. But this is kind of what we can consider our shopping district. Right here, as you guys can see, we have our Ables with some dresses outside, some little Christmas wreaths, Christmas trees, and then if we move on back this way, we have a little cute sitting area, and then we arrived to my house. So let me show you guys kind of what this view looks like. I don't know why, but just seeing both the Ables and my house, it just looks so cute. I'll actually show you guys my front room. This one is decorated for Christmas. Also, my basement is actually decorated, so I can show you those too. The rest of my house is decorated, but not so much for Christmas. I wanted to go again with the cozy vibes, so a lot of dark browns, greens, reds, just, you know, cozy little holiday living room. And as you guys can see, lots of trees. And then if we go upstairs, this is kind of like a more formal sitting area. This is kind of where one would have their Christmas dinner. So again, more trees, and I totally forgot a piano bench, but pretend there's one there. This is what this room kind of looks like if we do a 360 pan, but it's kind of simple, you know. Just wanted to make sure that there was some walking area, but it's just Christmas vibes all around. And now we can make our way back outside to finish the rest of this section. If we continue over to the right, here you guys can see a little skate rental. If you forgot your skates, you can come and rent some out. And then you guys can also kind of see the museum over on this side. But I'm actually going to come straight forward and show you guys my super teeny tiny mini little ice skating rink. I didn't have a whole lot of space to make it any bigger, but you know, it still works. It's tiny, but it's mighty. And then if we continue on over this way, this is where one would take their photos with Santa Claus. This wasn't letting me sit, but there we go. So it's right outside of the museum. You guys can see Santa's sleigh is over there in the back, Santa's reindeers. It's just a cute little spot for some photos. So this is kind of representing the North Pole. And then over on this right side, this is Santa's toy shop. So this is where all of the toys are made and ready for Christmas so that everyone on the nice list can get their gifts. But again, as I had mentioned earlier, this is my museum, and I have a little bit of paying homage to Brewster, so you guys can see his little coffee cup, his coffee beans, and that concludes Christmas. I do really love this section of my island. I think it beautifully showcases what Christmas is all about. It just looks so jolly and joyful. I really do miss this area. Like this island, this part of the island, if it was a complete island, I would die over that. I would be so happy for that. But moving on to the final holiday, we have Valentine's. All right, and making our way over to Valentine's Day. Again, you guys can see we have little presents here to make sure that you are dressed for the occasion. And this area is all pink, as you guys can see. So right out front, we have a little area where you can eat. You can actually buy pastries from Blair. Here you can see she has some cakes out in her front yard, but she's probably sleeping. Oh, yeah, she's sleeping. But she runs a little cafe. And then if we continue on over, we also have Meringue on this island, who also runs a cafe. So both of them have little cafes. Over here, I kind of focused more on terraforming and like waterscaping. So as you guys can see, there's like a cute little gazebo, pink flowers, pink everything. And let me see if I can give you guys a closer look. But this is kind of what it looks like. And then as we continue to move along, just a little bit of flowers over here and some natural terraforming. And then if we move on over, we can see Meringue's home, which she may be home. Over here, another little bakery, as I had mentioned. Oh, she is not home, but her lights are on. That's so cute. I actually never noticed those lights. This is where you can come out again and eat your little pastries. Cute little Christmas, cute little wedding items that I used. If you climb down this vine and you go around this tree and then you go actually around this tree as well, you can actually hop over onto this section. Let me see if it allows me. And you can actually stand underneath the gazebo. Just careful not to get stuck. I will say a lot of us have gotten stuck here before, and it's not fun, but you can make your way around it. Last thing that I wanted to show you guys is this little area that I have here. I have a sunken heart pond. I wanted to do like a natural vibe since the majority of this section was like the city, the town, in terms of like this path right here. So I did go ahead and create this little heart pond, which you can actually go inside and you're in the sunken part. But I think you guys can get the vibes for this section. This, I just wanted it to be like pink and girly and, you know, symbolize love and Valentine's Day. So that's why I chose to do it during cherry blossom season, even though cherry blossom season is not actually on Valentine's Day. But yeah, this is the end of the holidays. I'll make my way back to the front of the island so that you guys can. So that concludes the island tour for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you visit the island on your own time, please let me know what you think about it, as well as which holiday is your favorite. But again, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.